It's fine. It's better to say it's good.
Okay, where's our council? We've lost council?
He should be here momentarily.
Okay. So proclamations, certifications, and presentations. And we have, this is the NJAC Foundation Investor Bank Scholarship Award, 2019 Sussex County recipient Zachary Smolder. Come on up here. And I understand Emily Hayden?
Yeah.
Did I say that right, Hayden?
Yes.
Good. Recipient of the BSE and G Scholarship Award. You're going to join us for a photograph. We're going to photograph up. And you already received your
Yes, sir.
recognition? Okay.
Yes.
So let's do the proclamation. We should get all three freeholders up here. And we're all going to stand there. Sure, we've got three of us. You know, maybe we'll adopt the warrant captain. Three freeholders. Okay.
Oh, that's exciting.
Who would like to read the proclamation? Okay. That's my pleasure.
Thank you.
It's just some background.
Oh,
Thank you.
It's not a
We have some background information.
It's just the certificate and the scholarship check.
So it's a certificate. We have a certificate here. Skylar.
You should come over here, next to him. There you go.
So, and we have some background information. So let's read some background information. Okay. Zachary Smolder, Sussex County Technical School. The remarks from the staff of Sussex County Technical School recommending Zachary Smolder for NJAC Foundation Investment Bank Scholarship. I have had the opportunity to get to know Zachary during the last 3 school years. I can recommend him as a hardworking, bright young man who takes his academics and extracurricular activities very seriously. Zachary has been an outstanding contributor to the Sussex Tech debate team, and a future politician, right?
Something like that.
And the Young Investor Society, and I need some help in that area. His enthusiasm towards his academics, current events, and policies have made him a very challenging opponent and yet an inspiration to his peers. Okay. In my 8 years of teaching, I've never met a student with more determination for his academics, extracurricular activities than Zachary. Just when you think that his plate is full, he can easily, he can't possibly take any more, he finds the time to embrace new challenges. Even though Zachary has faced an abundance of adversity throughout the competitions that I have personally witnessed, seen him in, it only has made him stronger. When Zachary sets his mind to do something, there's very little that stands in his way. His focus is to make the world a better place, is unparalleled, and I know wholeheartedly that he won't let anything stand in his way to ensure that he fulfills his mission. This was written by Gus Moda, the superintendent of schools. Congratulations. I want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you want to congratulate them? You did?
Yep.
You did? Okay. So you want to, Zachary, here, you want to hold that? We'll give you a picture. You want a picture here? How do you want to do the picture?
Out from behind the podium, please.
We'll come out from, we have to go, come on. We'll go, you come up from behind the podium. Here, are we good? You tell us. Okay, you here?
Please go that way.
Slide over, slide over.
Okay, here, we got room. Come on over here so we all can be in here. Okay, and we'll put that up there. So this.
Are we ready?
We're ready. Is your
Thank
parent here with you? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want
And you have parents? Come on up, get the parents. One more shot with the parents, okay? Get the parents. We have the time to do this tonight, so it's,
Why don't we get out of the way, let the parents.
yeah, why don't the parents, we'll stand in the background here. All be together. Good, get together. There you go. We'll just kind of stand in the background. How's that? Or should we get out of the background? You tell us. We'll get out. Okay.
In this picture.
Good idea. Let them enjoy it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for coming.
You know, I just want to say that it's
That's
a
great. I
pleasure
think you
to
don't wanna
have
leave
the
that.
opportunity
Thank
to
you
see
once
the
again.
awards and the accomplishments of our young adults, and we're just proud of you. I want you to know that what you've achieved and what you're planning to achieve in the future is just going to benefit you and benefit our whole community. So congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
This is what I'm saying.
So, let's see, we need to insert the...
And guys, don't feel like you have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you very much. Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't wish it on you.
No.
Okay, public hearings, then, nothing, public session from the floor, comments, or, go ahead.
Comments are limited to 5 minutes or less and must only address issues regarding agenda items. Please state your name, print your name and municipality on the sign-in sheet.
We have a motion to open the floor to public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Open to the public. Anyone wishing to address the Freeholder Board on any issue on the agenda? Seeing none, I would take a motion to close it to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. Freeholder comments. Sylvia?
Thank you. I'm going to start with Dawn, Freeholder Dawn Fantasia's comment. She can't be with us tonight on Sussex County Community College. Longtime English professor Priscilla Orr has been granted emeritus status at Sussex County Community College, making her the first faculty member in the college history to receive the designation. And congratulations to her. And this is a quote from the president of college. She has been very important and heavily involved at this institution for a very long time, enriching the lives of people who care about literature and the arts and the craft of the written word and how it can move people. Sussex County Community College President John Connolly said, "Sometimes when we try to connect with students, you never know what's going to work and what's not. Poetry is one of those things you just cannot tell what it's going to do." And Priscilla was a genius at that. Orr's contributions to the college include funding the Betty June Silconis Poetry Center, named in honor of a Sparta woman with a love of poetry who died in 2004. The center holds an annual pottery festival and publishes the Stillwater Review, a collection of poems from authors around the world. So congratulations to Priscilla Orr, that is quite an honor. The Board of Trustees at the June 25th meeting received a presentation about the machine tool program from Jason Fruge, who is the program supervisor, and automotive technology, and former student Kenneth Collins. During the presentation, it was noted that 8 students have graduated and are now certified in machine tool technology. 7 of these students have been hired by Thor Labs. A lunch and learn event is scheduled on July 11th at the Andover location of Thor Labs. Congratulations to them. And that was the goal, was to start the technology programs, collaborate with the different businesses in the district so that the students can actually graduate the college and then walk across the street and have a job. And that's exactly what's happening. Program graduate Kenneth Collins noted that he is very pleased with the program. He said he attended classes in the evening, which was perfect for his work and family schedule. He is presently working at Thor Labs and shared that it is a great place to work. A second session for machine tool technology will be launched in the fall. Sussex County Community College and Thor Labs is planning an optics technician program. The focus will be on manufacturing high-quality lenses. Students will be taught how to handle, inspect, and manufacture optics. There is a growing need for educated, qualified technicians in the United States, including optics techs involved with national security. The college will be competing for federal funds from the Department of Defense. Sussex County Community College has been awarded the USDA grant in the amount of $50,000, which will be used for equipment necessary for the Culinary Institute. The grant award brings the college's funding to over $1 million for the entire McGuire project. And last, Sussex County Community College has more SOAR, S-O-A-R, which stands for Student Orientation, Advising, and Registration Sessions scheduled. SOAR sessions are intended for all new students attending Sussex. It provides a solid foundation on which to start. Source sessions include meeting with an advisor and working on creating an academic plan, learning about degree requirements and registering for first semester classes. The college has won the Sussex County Economic Development Training and Workforce Development Award for outstanding contribution to Sussex County economic development. Congratulations on that award, it's well deserved. Okay, the last thing that I want to speak on is the Lake Apacon Commission meeting that was held this week, at which time our new commissioner from the DEP, Commissioner McCaig, attended and brought a group of very well-trained scientists, very knowledgeable in lake situations and storm water situations that have to do with the blue alga that is now in the lake. I want to just give a little background because what happened was extremely interesting. I personally am very grateful they came, and one thing that the DEP does very well is monitoring things like this. So they came to listen to the public. I have never seen or heard from those scientists that were there, and I was involved with Lake Apacon for 12 years, fighting in Trenton for money every year. So they were probably new to what was going on at the lake, and of course the new commissioner, she was new, she didn't have the history. What the public brought to the meeting was very interesting. They brought the history of the lake, and that's what they needed to hear and they needed to understand. I just want to go back a little bit because I couldn't possibly go back to 40 years that they've been fighting for funding for this lake. For the same reason that we're fighting for help now is for the health of the water quality of the lake. And they had different commissions. The second commission that was put in place was the Lake Apacon Commission. They still exist. However, a few years ago, most of their funding was taken away from them. And it went back to McGreevy, and I'm not going to go Democrat, Republican here, but I'm just telling you how far back this went, that our funding started to dwindle, that they really didn't want to give us money to do the weed harvesting program, which, by the way, actually contributes to the phosphorus in the lake, and the phosphorus in the lake now is the problem for the algae, okay? So it's really important those weeds are taken out and cut every year properly. It started to dwindle under there. When Corzine came in, they told us it was going to dwindle. Before, we didn't know it was going to dwindle, it just happened. They told us they were going to start to take our money away and that all of the towns had to institute both fees, okay? Of course, you can understand that that was met with a very negative opinion because people on that lake and people that use that lake pay a lot of money to live on that lake. But as time went on, they did a study and they were, as with everything, beginning to look and say, well, maybe this is what we have to do. We have to put in both fees. So they went back to the state and they said, look, if we put in both fees, will you pass a constitutional amendment so that the money we collect stays at the lake? And the answer was no. If we put in both fees, the money we collected would go into the general fund for the state. Well, who in their right mind would put in fees, which is really a tax, you can call it whatever you want, it's really a tax, and send it down for the general fund? You'll never see it again. So both fees never went into effect. Our senator and even our current assembly, Hal Wirtz, was on this. It started way back when he was an assembly person. Parker Space, Bucos have been very, very involved, the senator in the assembly down in Morris County, going to Trenton and fighting and fighting. And finally, when Christie actually left, they found the money. They found $500,000 that they were going to take to help fund this program, and it was from the registration fees for the non-title boaters that went to the motor vehicle. Motor vehicle brings in probably millions of dollars from those fees. So they have now put $500,000 in a line item that I know for last year and for this year they expect to get that, which has helped. However, that is not enough money to do what has to be done for the correct type of weed harvesting program to get all of those weeds out of the lake. Okay, so that adds to the problem. Then you have the state saying that, well, you know, you have to watch your stormwater, you have to watch your septics, you have to watch all these other things. And I just want to say on behalf of the towns, they are doing that, and they have been doing that for years. I remember the initiatives with phosphorus when we got all the scouts together, the Lake Commission got the scouts together, and we had the scouts go to every one of the catch basins and stencil with white paint a big fish on it that explains that whatever you throw in this catch basin ends up in the lake. Going to gardening places and giving them information, asking them not to sell fertilizer with phosphorus. I mean, this went on for years and years and years. And they are very careful with their septics and everything else. And now you have the perfect storm, although it's not something new to the lake. And this is the part I'm concerned about. For years, this algae, this blue algae, grew in the River Styx Cove at the end of the season. And every year we would call up the DEP and they would come and they would test it and they'd tell us it's toxic, and they would put out all of their alerts and their warnings: don't go in the water, you know, don't do this, don't do that, stay away from the water, it's toxic, okay? And then I would ask them, well, why is this happening and what are we gonna do about it? And the answer was over: it's a natural reaction of the lake. It is purging itself at the end of the season. And I remember sitting with that word saying, it's purging itself at the end of the season. It's toxic, it's dangerous, and it's contained here. Well, now it's not contained here anymore. It's throughout the entire lake, and it's toxic, and it's hazardous, and it's dangerous. So, as much as I truly appreciate the monitoring that the Department of Environmental Protection is doing, and I know that their employees worked diligently and long hours during the 4th of July weekend, testing every area to see if they could open any area for the holiday, but they couldn't do it. But the problem is greater than just monitoring what's happening now. There has to be some kind of committee formed with the 4 towns, with the commissioner, with their scientists, and start looking at all these alternatives that you're reading about in different states. Whether it's some type of filter that people have now that goes in the storm drains, or it's some type of aeration in the water that moves that oxygen, because they can't live with oxygen. They live when there's no oxygen. So when there's stagnated waters, they really bloom. Some way to begin to deal with the issue at hand. And if they can't deal with the whole lake right now, maybe just start in a small cove and try some of these different alternative projects, initiatives that they are using to see if it works in a cove, so that next year we have some idea of what we can do to help ourselves so we're not back here. This bloom could very well last into the fall. There could also be another bloom. This may not be the only one for the season, depending on the weather. So pretty much our businesses now are all being affected by this. And I'll tell you something that happened the other day as I was just looking at the lake, is it's very eerie to see a huge lake that is an aqua park with no one on it. And then on the weekends, when you have all the trailers coming through and the traffic and all the people going to the state park and you hear that chatter and the music, there isn't any. It's quiet. It's unnatural for our area to be quiet in the summer when we have the greatest lake treasure in New Jersey sitting in front of us. So, as grateful as I am that they are monitoring, and I know they do it well, I am asking and talking with other people to see if we can't get meetings in place to start to discuss alternative methods in treating this bloom, so that we can help ourselves this year, but we can help ourselves going into next year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go next. Just a couple things. I attended along with Baxter, my companion, attended Congressman Gottheimer's honoring local residents as hometown heroes. Sussex County nominated the late Ed Vandenberg, formerly Wantage, for his many years of care and maintenance to the Happacrack, did I say that correctly? Cemetery. Okay. 3 other Sussex County residents were also honored: Richard O. from Hardwick, Martin O'Donnell from Vernon, Kenneth French from Frankfurt, and John Kizowski from Hardiston. It was a very, very nice event, and I'm glad I went down to meet with them and see the event. It was a little bit of a ride. I did get lost, but even with GPS, I went to the wrong campus, but we got there in time to see everything. The only other, but one other thing is Dr. Bullard, who is a member of Premier Health, has started a process by which he's bringing up young interns, and I'm going to have more training up here in conjunction with, I believe, Ramapo College and I think Rutgers. I'm not sure on that. And so we're going to ask him to come in September, do a presentation on the impact on the county. And he made some interesting comments. They're becoming doctors, and they're leaving the state and going other places. They're South Jersey, and we have such a beautiful county up here. So he's been recruiting and getting them to do training up here. It's a wonderful thing. A couple health things. There were 58 routine food facilities inspected, and 73 temporary, this is the time of year for temporary. Wapakon Community Center, Wednesday 17th is tick mosquito presentation. Let's see, tiger mosquito, public health nursing, we'll hold some clinics. There's a New Jersey seed program, Wapakon Community Day, which is Saturday, July 13th. They'll have a mosquito control group presentation there. And there's a multitude of things here that the Office of Department of Health and Human Services is doing. So I'm not going to go through all of this. Is this online? And is this stuff online?
I'm not sure if we put that online or not, but we sure could.
Yeah, because there's a lot of information here. There's a total of 370 county senior citizens or caregivers contacted the Division of Senior Services to obtain. So there's a lot of information. So thank you for that report, Josh.
Sure. First, I'd start out by talking about the Sussex County Fair, our farm and horse show. I understand that you and Baxter are going to be in a short welcome video.
Oh yes, we did the video, and I will say on cue, as I said, he's with me and relaxing. He laid down and he sat down.
I just want to say you might want to be concerned that Baxter gets a writing.
I have been warned about that.
All right.
I understand he's been talking to certain Republicans in the county. I'm getting concerned.
The event will take place in the Augusta Fairgrounds, as always, August 2nd through the 10th. It's a Sussex County staple. I think everyone looks forward to it. I know, my kids always do, so I look forward to enjoying that time out there. Sussex County Senior Citizen Art Exhibit. Sponsored by the Sussex County Arts and Heritage Council, this exhibit is open to novice and professional artists, as long as they are 60 years of age or older. Art to be received July 20th and July 30th. All entries will be featured in the August 3rd through the 24th exhibition at the Council Gallery located in Newton. You can contact them to put them in. That's pretty cool. One other thing I wanted to let everybody know is that I've been working with Sussex County Technical School and Sparta to increase some of the safety features there. As you know, the campuses are on both sides of the road. Intersection with 94 is there, and there's been some issues, so we're working with them to add some safety features and make it a little safer for the students to get back and forth. And as we get more on that, I know I talked to Greg about it today, we're going to be working with them a little more to figure out exactly what's going to be done, but I'll keep you advised.
Okay, great. I think we're done. Okay, we'll move, let's see, all the comments. Now, where do we have? We have, is that later for the administrator's report?
Yes.
At the end, okay. Approval of the consent agenda, we have a motion.
Second?
Freeholder Fantasia is absent, Freeholder Graham is absent, Freeholder Hertzberg,
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo,
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley.
Yes. A motion to approve the regular and executive meetings of June 24th, 26th, 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
That's approved. No appointments or resignations. Resolutions, adoption of the Sussex County Family and Medical Leave Act
Policy.
policy. Motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Introduction, first reading, ordinance 2019-01, -011.
Regarding relocating an existing mid-block crosswalk on Sussex County Route 519 to a point approximately 400 feet north of US Route 206 at ± mile marker 65.03 in the town of Newton.
Motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Freeholder Hertzberg.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Yardley.
Yes. Motion to authorize the clerk to advertise this ordinance as introduced for first reading and to post same on the bulletin board in the lobby of the County Administrative Center, together with a notice of public hearing stating a hearing will be held on July 24, 2019 at 7 p.m. prior to the final adoption of this ordinance. Do I have a motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it is approved. Award of contracts and change order bids. I have a motion to adopt contract A and B.
So moved.
Second.
There's just one statement prior to that, and then
Okay?
the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Sussex has reviewed the award of contract change orders bids consisting of various proposed resolutions and determined that adoption of said or resolutions is in and will further the public interest. If any freeholder would like to remove an item to be considered separately, please do so now.
Okay, roll call.
I'm sorry, who was the motion?
I think it was Josh and then.
Second.
Okay. Freeholder Hertzberg?
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo?
Yes.
Freeholder Director York?
Yes. On financial, on payment of bills, motion to pay approve the bill list.
So moved.
Roll call.
Second?
Yes. Conversation.
Have we, unless I've missed it, I apologize, have we taken care of the change orders and contracts?
Contracts,
Award
change
contracts
orders,
and
and
changes,
bids?
that's all
Yeah,
done.
I'm sorry.
That's
You're moving
okay.
too fast for me.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that's-
keep up, Greg, keep up.
Yeah, I'm still on vacation, so please forgive me.
We're done with that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, so the roll call for the
Bill list.
payment of bills is Freeholder Hertzberg.
Yes.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo. Freeholder Director York.
Yes. Personnel, resident authorizing personnel agenda of July 10th. Do I have a motion on that? Okay, seeing no motion, we won't move on that till the next meeting.
No, I'll make a motion.
Oh.
Just
so
wait
the-
for.
Oh,
do I have a
I
second?
didn't do that. Second.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait for each other to
I
move.
was like, all right, I guess we're not doing it.
I'm ready to move, let's keep moving.
So roll call.
Good job. You-
Roll call.
Motion,
Let's have a
roll call vote, please.
Freeholder Hertzberg.
Yes.
Freeholder Patillo. Freeholder Director York.
Yes. Before we move to the administrator's report, I'm going to ask if Carol, you could do us a favor and get our counsel?
Of course.
I would appreciate that. Administrator, we can give you a report?
Yes, and I'll be very slow.
All right, let me know when you guys are done.
Okay. We will have mid-year capital projects review with the finance officer, department administrators, and division heads next week. I'd like to thank our treasurer, Elke Yetter, for coordinating and getting those meetings together. The 2020 budget training is already underway with the department and divisions. The department administrators and division heads are being asked to develop goals and objectives that we believe will assist in the development of the upcoming budget. And lastly, just to build upon what Freeholder Patillo had mentioned in terms of Lake Opatcong, I'd like to recognize the Department of Health and Human Services for their efforts in continuing to coordinate with DEP. I'm also pleased to state that as a result of participating on one of the conference calls, Mayor Will Susan from Jefferson had really stressed the need to change the narrative of the communications that were going out relative to the impacts that the communities were feeling both in Sussex and Morris counties. And one of the recommendations that I made was to have the Department of Transportation update its message boards out on Route 80 that was indicating Lake Opatcong no swimming. But in anticipation of the 4th of July holiday weekend, I had asked that the message board be changed to indicate that the park was open, so that, you know, if people see Lake Opatcong no swimming, they'll think the park's closed and all that traffic on Route 80 either turns around or just keeps on driving, you know, out into Warren County or Pennsylvania. And I couldn't help myself. On the 4th of July, I went out onto Route 80 and I saw the DOT had in fact changed the signboard to say that the park was open. So I'm glad, you know, we've been able to make some small contributions to try to assist in changing that narrative because of how important the lake and the associated activity is to both Morris and Sussex County. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add to that for a minute, because I meant to commend the health department, and I forgot. But I also want to say that they worked diligently and they worked quickly. When they got the call, they were able to get the signs made, they ran down, they closed the beaches, You know, they've been taking phone calls, and the phone calls for people who don't know what to do, especially those that have come in contact with water, or the numerous people that are drawing potable water from the lake don't even realize that, some people don't even realize they're doing that. And then they're having problems, health issues. So they have been extremely wonderful in working with people, getting back to them, giving them the information, especially the health information for public safety, and I want to commend all of you. And Carol actually came to the meeting, and the Lake Commission asked her to speak so that people had a face to the county health department, and they had a phone number. So anyone that was there that had any questions, Carol addressed them at the meeting. So thank you very much for your time. That was a long meeting.
Okay, well, thank
You
you.
did a great job.
Okay, County Council.
Yes, one item tonight, and I'm going to refer to the ballot question that was part of our closed session agenda. We are tonight, effective immediately, going to appoint the Doug Steinhardt as special counsel and his law firm with respect to the ballot question and the election law issues that apply to it. Doug and his firm are recognized expertise, as you know, in election law and in these types of issues. We're glad to have them as special counsel. Doug is going to reach out to the Attorney General as soon as possible, which we imagine is tomorrow. And that has to do with the time constraints involved in the statutory limitations on when the ballot would have to be published. So the action that we're taking tonight would be to authorize a professional services agreement between this board and the firm of Florio, Carucci, Steinhardt, and Capelli. For that reason, again, due to the time constraints, in particular one coming up this Friday at noon, we were not able to get that on tonight's agenda. I'd like to have that recognized and adopted as part of the agenda tonight, and you can proceed to do that resolution, which we will have for the next meeting.
I think it's important to note that, you know, we're having to do this because of the intimidation being sent to us in the form of letters from the Attorney General, similar to what you're seeing in the news that they're also doing to other counties now. So, you know, we're not just going to let them intimidate us out of what we believe is right. We're going to continue to fight for the residents of Sussex County.
It is the intent of this board to see that the public is served well and has an opportunity to voice their opinion. So we are going to do what we can to make sure that happens.
And then, you know, just like you pointed out, there's a arbitrary deadline on Friday set by the Attorney General, but as you know, and as we all know, that there's state laws that set the deadline for ballot questions, and we're going to continue to work off those.
Well, in this case, that's August 16th.
Right.
To be specific.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Josh.
Okay. Thank you. Unfinished business, none. New business. I don't see any. Public session from the floor.
Everyone is asked to keep their comments to 5 minutes. Please state your name and print your name and municipality on the sign-in sheet.
Okay, motion to open the floor for public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's open for public comment. Anyone wish to address the board? Seeing none, motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reminders, please visit the county website for upcoming meeting dates and times. A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.